Hey everybody, how are you doing this bright and cold and snowy Tuesday? January 26th is the day today, and we thought we'd go over a few things. I thought Bob would be over here. He hasn't quite made it yet, so hang in there. He'll be here in a little bit. But we figured what we're going to do today, we wanted to do the Terrain Master thing, and I apologize to all of you that are waiting for our Terrain Master announcement. Chris has just a couple more people he's waiting on hearing back, and then we have our list dialed in. So you're going to have to hang in there just a little bit longer. I know there's a few people on here already that are like, hey, I want to know, did I make it or didn't I make it? And we have a really good Terrain Master crew this year. I'm kind of excited about it. But like I said, Chris has just a couple more of those that he wants to dial in before we make our decision. Hey guys, I see Aaron and Byron and Carlos. Hi David, good to see you guys here. So since I don't have all the Terrain Master stuff, we are going to go over a couple of the most common questions that we get asked when we get phone calls. And I know Tanner gave me a few ideas. He says he's been out of the loop for a little bit, but I said, you've been back enough weeks that you can feel it, what we're doing. But some of the most common questions that I seem to answer whenever I'm on the phone, one of the number one is, do you have install instructions? So I wanted to kind of show you, and I don't know how good this will be because I'm just going to show you on my screen. So bear with me if it's a little fuzzy for you guys, but I'm going to flip this around. I'm going to show you on our website. Obviously, I have a giant monitor because I like to see it all giant and big. But if you go to a particular product on our website, let's just say our skid plates for a JK. When you pull up a product on the view, all our products have this little red and blue truck on them to show the free shipping. Well, right above that, you'll see the install instructions. Now, I will say we don't have install instructions for everything on our website. We are working on that, but like I said, one of the number one questions is where to find that. They are right there. If we have install instructions written for a product, it will be right there on that little spot on our website. It's super easy to find, and then you just click on it and you can download a PDF. I'd say 90% of our people are on cell phones, so you would get it right on your cell phone. That was one of our number one questions I wanted to address. Did everybody follow that? Or did you have... Oops, turn the camera around. Is there any questions on that part? I think that was pretty simple. I see, hi Misty, hi Jessica, all these people that are good Terrain Masters. Yes, and you can always, if you have questions on install instruction stuff, obviously you can email us or call Tanner and I. So just above the little truck, yes, Aaron, you see it. If there is an install instruction, that's where it will show up. Now, I am first to confess there are a lot of missing install instructions for lack of, there's only 24 hours in a day. That's why. But Tanner is putting a dent in some of those, and we have a few. Joel, our one Terrain Master that's here local, he's been writing up a few. We're gonna try to get a few more install instructions up in the next month or two, somewhere in there. I always think it'll be faster than what it is. Another real common question that I get now, did that show up okay when I showed you my monitor? Because I want to go back and do that again. I'm going to pull up another product. One of our biggest questions that people ask me about when they call is our trusses. I'll flip this around again so you can see where I'm going on this great big monitor. Way down here in the bottom, if you scroll and you go right to our trusses, our front trusses. I tried to make it as clear as possible on our website that when you order a truss, it comes, like you guys can see, blank trusses, unless when you go to one, let's just pick this one, Dana 44 for radius arm, you have to go down here and in the related items, you can go ahead and pick what you want welded onto that truss. When you pick these related items and add them to your cart, they will then come fully welded onto this truss. With the exception of lower control arm mounts, they get welded on the bottom side of the axle, obviously. And the sway bar end link mounts, they get welded on wherever you need to put them. So, like I said, one of our most common questions is, what do I get? For $234, you would get this blank truss. If you want a blank truss and you're going to figure everything else out yourself, you go right ahead and order that. We actually have people that do buy that. But if you want a truss fully assembled that you're going to drop into right onto your axle and put it up, you can order the upper control arm mounts and the coil mounts and whatever you need, and then we weld it on for you. So that answers, I would say that's like one of my top questions that I get asked all the time. The other thing they ask is, okay, what track bar mount should I order when I order this certain truss? And it all depends on what you're doing with your vehicle, but I would say, like, common, like if you order a Wagoneer truss, I'm going to tell you to order the over the knuckle track bar mount. When you put this truss in, obviously this is an axle that was never in your Jeep before. You're going to do some configuring other than your coil springs and your uppers. You're going to have to figure out your track bar. So if you're in doubt as to what you should have to do, give a call, send an email. That's the easiest way. We can help you pick the right mounts to help set that up pertaining to what you're doing. And then that question goes also with the coil mounts. Whether you're putting a truss in or not, we have people buy axle side coil spring mounts, and they want to know how much stretch you can get with one, or which one should they order. Same thing, all depends on what you're doing with your vehicle, but we have coil spring mounts that will work with every configuration you can think of. Does anybody, Bob just came in, I see a bunch of you on here. Do any of you guys have questions that you would like to ask Bob? Have questions that you don't know what the heck's going on, and there's something we can help you with? Because he's sitting over there, he's looking at things, but he's right over here. Say a quick turnaround. Say hi, Bob. And you see Bob wearing his burly hat because it's snowy. Sam is happy with her LJ. Glad to hear that, Heather. Hope all is going well there. Kind of see who else is on here. I know Chris was stressing a little bit this morning. He's trying to get that Terrain Master stuff done, and I know there's I see a lot of my Terrain Master people on here that we just don't. You gotta wait one more week. That's all I ask. We'll get that all dialed in. I'm reading some of these comments. Hi, Aaron says hi, Bob. What else you guys got going on? Is it as cold by you as it is here? We have a little bit of snow coming down still, right, Bob? It's snowing?
Yeah.
I've been cold all day, and I know I talked to some of my Minnesota friends this morning, and I shouldn't complain about being cold here. They're super cold up there. I'll take I don't know, what do we got, 10 degrees or something? At least we're not minus degrees today. What else do we got? I don't know. Hi, Scott.
I missed the start, so I don't know what you did.
Well, all I said so far was I showed them where to find our install instructions on the website. I talked about the trusses. That's about all I talked about. Bob's been working hard over at the other shop. Guess what he's working on? Anybody got a guess what he's working on? Roman? What?
Yeah.
Roman? Bob's working on Roman. He's working on the Roman Gladiator. So he wanted me to show everybody today, but I said, no, let's wait just a little bit more. He's got a few more things to get on there. And then we can show you guys what's happening down over at the other shop. 60 degrees. Ooh, Vince, you got some nice warm weather. Oh, so does Dwayne. Aaron, JT. JT, that's what he's working on. I know you're interested in a few JT parts too, so they're coming along.
We fitted the rear steps.
Wait. Bob's got some words. I'm gonna turn you around. All right. Tell me, Bob.
So we fitted the rear steps to a Rubicon that has the steel bumper group, and that's really the key to that rear step. If your Jeep does not have the steel rear bumper group, you don't have the little Nerfy deals that come from the factory, right? So in the interim, we ordered, because it's a two-piece deal, so we ordered the frame part from Mopar, and then I'm fitting those to Mary's Gladiator, which is a Sport S, just had rubber bumpers, nothing fancy. They will work with the rubber bumper. Good luck. It is a time-consuming. All the internal mounting is the same. So it gets a frame, if you will, put on the back of the Jeep, and then the next guy in the assembly line either picks a steel bumper or the rubber bumper. So all the mounting points are the same. The issue is the rubber bumper is a lot more big, whatever. So it has, and if you look at the factory steel, it has that cutout in it, which the rubber does not. So you need one of those and a lot of patience. You put it up, scribe it, trim, put it up, slide it back, the amount you trimmed, scribe it again, and they go right on. Does take, you have to be particular if you want it to look nice, or you can just grab your Sawzall and start chopping stuff, but I kind of wanted a nice fit.
So you're saying the plastic bumper is
Right.
wider than the steel?
And it's thicker this way, vertically.
Okay.
So you have to cut some of that out to put that step in. But if you take your time and do it nice, it looks factory. We'll get pictures of that. I got one side done yesterday. I'll get the other side done this afternoon.
And then they match the Expedition steps that we already have. So
that's a really nice. Maybe when we get them done and finalized, I did have to make a little design change to accommodate some stuff in the plastic bumper that doesn't affect the root or the steel bumper group. So we'll get that drawn up this afternoon and remake that part. And then those will get welded and put to powder and installed hopefully tomorrow, maybe Thursday. Then we get some more pictures. And I know Mary's was on earlier on that install instructions. There may not be installs for these on the rubber trim part because it's a subjective thing. I'm going to try to make a template. That's why I did one side. We'll see. But it's, it's not beyond your capability. If you use this and go nice and slow, they'll go right on.
And what do you think? What's the point of this step?
So the reason I did the steps, corner guard is what I'm gonna unofficially call them. On Fall Adventure, we had 2 Rubicon Gladiators with tent racks and all of their stuff, and I just kind of, while I'm cooking, looking over my stove on Megalander, watching these guys struggle because there's nothing back there. The one night it was a little slippery, so the bumpers were wet, and they're trying to straddle from the top of the tire to the bumper and kind of doing the splits thing to work whatever it took to get their tents open. Because they're just tall enough that it's too hard to do on the floor. So that was one. I wanted to step back there so you can go from, and that the Expedition Series sliders have that twofold reason, have the bump in them. One, to kick the truck away from whatever you're sliding against so you don't destroy the bed box. And 2, it gives you a really bitchin' place to step to work that side of your tent, awning, whatever's up there. So I wanted that step on the rear. Brian from Carolina Metal Masters was one of the Jeeps that was with us, and he had taken that Jeep through the Rubicon earlier, I guess last summer. Now we advanced a year, but in the summer he did the Rubicon. In that back corner, the body's okay, but that little factory slider thing and that whole rear corner of the bumper took a beating. So I wanted some more protection back there. So it's twofold. More protection. They're wider. They actually are past the body, whereas the factory's right up underneath.
Okay.
So it gives you a little protection, gives you a step.
Okay.
So.
And we'll show them that next week.
Yep.
Bobby asked, do you have a Sterling rear truss on the secret menu? Tell Bobby why you don't have a Sterling
rear end
truss.
is a boat anchor. And I'm going to say that publicly, and I'm going to get flogged for it. I don't really care. It's a boat anchor in a Jeep. It's a bitchin' rear end, but it doesn't work in a short wheelbase Jeep. It doesn't work in a JK. Way back when, so we're probably early to mid 40s, Jeep engineers decided that an 1 1/8" pinion offset was what Jeep needed. So if you measure out any Jeep rear end, from wheel mounting surface to wheel mounting surface, the pinion is not center in the axle. It's an 1 1/8" offset. There's a myriad of reasons for that, but we won't go into that. So that Jeep's an 1 1/8". Ford had the same idea when they designed all their stuff, and they went to 2 1/4". So the pinion is an 1 1/8" farther offset to the passenger side. So what that does for you in a short wheelbase Jeep, it's like swapping a Ford 88. It's a great rear end. It has some disadvantages. And the Sterling, because it's a Ford designed and built axle, carries that 2 1/8" pinion offset. So you end up in a short wheelbase, not only with a drive shaft that's on a steep angle, it's now on a side angle. And you'll fight driveline vibration till you're blue in the face. It's okay on like a 33 or 35-inch tired TJ that you're keeping short. You put any kind of lift more than, say, about 2 inches, you will fight driveline vibrations. So it's going to happen. So
Bobby says, so stay away from the Sterling. Got it. So a 14 bolt?
Yep. Late model 14 bolt. Don't quote me on the years, but about 2000 to 2007 is ideal. The earlier
for the JK.
For a four-door or any JK.
Okay. What about in a TJ? Will that work?
Same in the
Same
TJ.
thing? Okay.
They're identical or comparable in strength, parts availability, everything. People flog to that Sterling rear end because they think they can buy the junkyard matching Dana 60, and that's a whole nother dissertation. That front end is a boat anchor in a Jeep.
Bobby was asking, what about with a 5-inch stretch?
It's doable. The 14 bolt Chevy, their pinion offset, I'm working off the top of my head, it's about 1 1/4". So it's very similar to Jeep. It actually works well. Upper control arm mounts, if you're going to use the factory style suspension or need those factory pickup points, the upper control arm in a JK is not going to end up where it needs to be, because of it's a 3/4 ton or 1 ton. The brakes are huge, so that axle tube that you have to work with, that space is narrower because the brakes protrude inward. They may have the same wheel mounting surface that you need, but the brakes are so much bigger, so your uppers end up narrow.
But if they did a three link,
then there's no issue.
Like our 6-inch or
like our 6-inch kit. It's a 3-link. It would work bitchin' on that rear end.
Right. So that comes with a truss, so that upper mount wouldn't have a problem of being mounted. And
the reason I say I think it's 2000 to 2007. That's a disc brake rear end. the 99 back to, I don't know, 92, 3, somewhere in that neighborhood. It's the same rear end. It's just drum brake. The drum brakes are stupid heavy. I mean, it's a 1-ton rear end, so they're big. Will it work? Yes. Is it ideal? No. There's a couple of guys that have tried. They bought the drum brake rear end and thought they could bolt the disc brakes on. It is not the case. It's a different mounting flange.
We're still talking
the 14 bolts.
14 bolts.
Okay. So do yourself a favor, find a factory disc brake one, and just build that. It's not a bad rear end. Yeah, it's a bitchin' rear end.
Don't you have stretch already, Bobby?
But take a 14 bolt or a Sterling or a Dana 80 with a grain of salt. You're dealing with 11.5 or 12-inch ring gear. I mean, the housing is as big as a 5-gallon bucket. They are rock plows unless you're going to 40s or bigger. So everything's got a pro and a con.
Yeah.
So, just because it's junkyard cheap doesn't necessarily mean it's the best thing for your Jeep.
No.
Because the added work and all the little headaches that you're going to run into when dust settles.
So that brings up another good question that people always ask, how should I build my Jeep? And what is TNT's reply?
Figure out what you want.
What do you want to do?
And then work backwards.
Yeah. What do you want to do?
Don't just keep hodgepodging along the way, because you're going to spend double, if not triple, in some cases, quadruple the money than just doing it once.
Yeah. Yeah.
So figure it out first.
Save up, drive it, do a little different varieties of wheeling, and then build it.
Yep.
Figure out what you want to do.
Yep.
That's a good big question that we have. All right, I don't see any other questions on here. I see a few people saying what they run. They liked your comment of it's a boat anchor and a rock plow and
careful what you wish for.
Yeah, right. Okay, so it's been a few minutes. I think it's time for us to go have some lunch. You got any other great words of advice this week, Bob? No?
No.
All right, stay tuned for Terrain Masters next week, and a little peek at Spartacus if we can sneak it in next week. And that's it. Say goodbye, Bob.
We're going to one last thing. If you're in southern Missouri, come see us Valentine's Day weekend.
Yeah.
We're at Missouri Off-Road, Overland and Off-Road Expo. I think that's how it goes. Yeah. Overland and Off-Road. Google it, Moore.
Yeah.
2 O's. We'll be down there for the weekend. If you're in the neighborhood, stop by and see us.
I thought of one other thing. You gonna say goodbye?
Yep.
Okay. All right. I'll switch back to me. Sure, I will. Okay, one other thing. Tomorrow night, Wednesday night, here in Cheyenne, we have a dinners and drafts at Sanford's. So if you're here in town, come by and see us at Sanford's. We're upstairs. We get a little get together. And then the last thing is be sure to tag us, like us, do our share, make our videos go further. And we'll see you guys next Tuesday. Have a great week.